Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time of day you are joining us. This is the Victory Roll Wrestling Podcast. I am one of your hosts, the storyteller, Alex Braddock.
And I'm your other host, never ready, Dylan Gilbert, the world's least famous professional wrestling cameraman. And this is the Victory Roll Podcast. What's going on, brother?
It's always fun when Dylan has more of a gimmick than I do.
My gimmick is stealing from Major Pod. I'm just letting y'all know.
We are marks.
I think that is my gimmick, is I'm a total mark. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Dylan, we have had a bit of a somber week, I think both of us mentally. But we live in a time where wrestling exists, so we can keep it, and we can rock it, and we can roll with it. So the week has been a little bit of a meh week for wrestling because one company is coming into what I like to call a pay-per-view Wednesday, and another company is working towards a pay-per-view Saturday. So
yeah,
we're talking blow-offs here, but we're going to be aiming probably more towards another discussion episode like we did last week. We really enjoyed last week's episode. It kind of kept it short. We were able to talk a little bit more about what we think about wrestling versus, oh, this person won, last person won, this, that, and the other. So does that sound good to you?
Yeah, man. We're not hitting you with the Meltzer star ratings. We're just two guys talking wrestling, and I think that's where we flow the best.
Absolutely. Well, I say it from the start. We are just two guys that love talking wrestling, so we got on this camera to do that. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw. We have a decent promo segment. Not to start the night, but later in the night that I want to talk about between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker, the future contenders for the IC Championship. I still haven't confirmed at Bad Blood or on Monday Night Raw next week. I haven't figured that one out. Do you?
Yeah, me either.
Okay. But they had a good promo segment going on, back and forth. Braun Breaker basically saying, I didn't need my daddy's name to do anything. I didn't need my uncle's name. If you want proof, I'm not called Steiner. I'm called Breaker.
Which I actually liked because for the first time in his career, we acknowledge why he has an entirely different name. Everybody knows who he is, but I think he did a great job of I wanted this for myself. Make me believe it, you know?
Yeah. And then I turn around and I go, okay, well, it's Uso. It's not Jay Rikishi.
Not Jay Fatu.
Right. But then you can pull the card of they are claiming they are the bloodline. Rikishi has come in multiple times and done stuff with the Usos. It makes sense.
I think the closest we've gotten to that with Braun is his dad being in the stands, in a box, and they'll make a quick cut or something like that. But I don't think Rick's ever come out with him. I don't think Scott's ever come out.
I think the closest thing we got was an NXT exclusive clip where he was front row for Braun's first title win. I think Rick hopped the barricade to go celebrate with him, so they celebrated in the ring together. But other than that,
yeah, Mania. I think it was Mania or SummerSlam. No, it was SummerSlam. They cut to the Legends booth, and he was there, and they cut another point during Braun's match to his dad's in the crowd happy, but you're not having Rick doing entrances with him.
Right, very much so. Versus Rikishi, who has done the entire dance with the Usos on multiple occasions,
and then goes on his podcast and talks about how they're going to leave for AEW while they're in the middle of storylines. I'm like, Rikishi, just shut up, please.
Fatus are strange, man. But the iconic line we had was Jey Uso looking Braun Breaker dead in his face and just saying, I'm going to dog walk your ass. So I think the discussion for this part is simply Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker, bud. How do we feel about this match? We've kind of known it's coming, but there's potential for a good match, even though we're not the greatest fans of Braun Breaker. I think with Uso being there, what do you think?
So I think it took the main event Jay for me to really become I've gone round and around with the Usos. I was a fan when they were doing the face paint thing. It got stale. They came back with the bandanas and totally different personality. I started liking that again, and then it got stale with me. And then Bloodline is oh, this is great. They kind of fade off with me a lot, but I've really been enjoying main event Jay. but I also think he does not need this win. If Jay doesn't win another match for the rest of the year, and he turns around and does anything else, you're not going to believe in him less.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. I mean, he's how many time tag champions, like all the stuff that he's done. And Braun is at this point now where like we're building credibility, we're building legitimacy, and as much as I don't like the building legitimacy with the championship thing, like it's a quality win for him in a match that would be solid.
Yeah.
And I mean that promo took a match I cared so little about and actually made me like, oh, this is going to be good. It's the definition of selling a fight.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a good one. If not, I mean, I agree with you with Jay being able to take a loss and no one caring. I'm concerned about Braun Breaker not adding to his legitimacy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a concern because he's shown there's definitely times where like his in-ring work looks really good, and there's times where it looks okay. And I think it comes down to chemistry of who he's in there with. Because I mean, he does the Goldberg thing with just more speed, more athleticism. Yeah. And if a guy knows how to take all that, it looks awesome. And if they don't, it looks like crap, you know?
Right. I agree. Well, staying on the USO track, we had a lovely tag match for some tag titles from the New Day versus the Judgment Day. If New Day wins it, I saw Kofi's tweet earlier in the week. If they won that match, they would have been 17-time tag team champions. Now, I don't know if that was him being a 17-time because he has won so many more other than the New Day. But it still wouldn't surprise me if the 17 is a New Day exclusive number.
It wouldn't surprise me either. I'd have to look it up, but I know that they had their fair share of runs.
And they've also gone back and forth between, like, any time that they were feuding with the tag titles because former owner of the company, Redacted, didn't ever know what to do with tag team wrestling. So he would just go like, okay, cool, this pay-per-view you're going to win the title, and then the next one you're going to lose it, and then the next one you'll win it back.
He did that with, I think, the tag titles, the women's titles, the US, the IC, anything that wasn't the WWE Championship. All he who shall not be named that likes big sweaty men would just be like, we're gonna take the titles and we're gonna put them on you this week, and next week you can have it, and then it's going right back. And we're gonna have Sasha versus Charlotte for the 47th time. People are gonna love it.
Yeah,
you know.
But going off of that match, we did have the Judgment Day retain, but we had a promo segment earlier in the night before this match where the New Day come up to Damian Priest, Jey Uso, and Rhea Ripley and say, hey, not necessarily asking permission, but they are just going, are you cool with us taking care of it for the night? And Priest gives them the blessing. Like, yeah. Go take those titles back. And they go. Now, my question for you is, could we possibly be setting up the next War Games match?
So, if you ask me this before I see the Acclaimed in Blood and Guts, I go, that's crazy. Why would that work?
Right.
And then the Acclaimed go through Blood and Guts, and I'm like, that's a perfect example of, like, these guys are obviously good. They're known as being the comedy guys, but this is a great way to, like, oh, yeah, you forget they're badasses. You forget they had a Hell in a Cell. Like, you forget these guys can go to war. And so, I mean, I think, man, I give me New Day in a War Game scenario, man. Like, street fight Kofi and Woods.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely. So the 4 would be Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Uso, and Priest versus, I would guess, Carlito, JD, Finn Balor, and Dom. Now, look, me personally, I do not believe in hitting women. Don't take this as this comment. I kind of can appreciate some intergender matches that we have not seen in a very long time in WWE because of TV rules and other things like that. Do you think Trips pushes the line and makes it a 5v5 with Liv and Rhea in it?
I would love to see it, but I don't know if they do. I think there's a chance they get involved in some sort of way.
Yeah.
But I mean, we love a shameless plug here. If you watch the most recent episode of 225 Unleashed, there's a 6-person tag that you might or might not have been a part of, and the women get involved, and it looks great. Like you have some spots that look really good and do a really good job of getting the crowd hyped. If you do it right, and it's not just like, hey, we're gonna have the guys beat up on the women.
Yep.
But if you've got a believable woman like Rhea, or like in y'all's case T Gaines, like putting down offense on these like on the heel male wrestlers, like the crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
It's all in how you do it, but I don't know if they're going to do it because sponsors would be probably pissed.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I mean, shoot, the last time we saw male on female violence was Baron Corbin hitting an End of Days on Becky Lynch.
And
that was
boy, that
years
had
ago.
nuclear heat.
And it had some heat, brother. It goes back to the whole, when was the last time you saw blood in WWE? When was the last time you had so much cursing when The Rock came back? Like, he comes back, there's blood everywhere, he's dropping F-bombs every 3 words.
You can't watch promos on SmackDown because it's just silence as he's walking around going,
yeah. Absolutely. And we loved it. And we ate it up, and it just got more and more heat, but it also got more and more interest. So, I don't think they're gonna do it either. I'm the discussion guy, so I like to I like to have it be discussed sometimes. Yeah, churn the butter,
stir that pot.
But Monday Night Raw goes off without really any big say things. Big say thing I forgot to mention. Bronson Reed throws a fan across the entire building onto Braun Strowman.
I'm going to say that fan was a plant, not because of how beautiful that crossbody was, but because we saw a grown man in a Yeet t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that was a plant.
I don't know. I think it was a legitimate fan. That's why he got legitimately fined. So, everything's fine. Anyway.
Totally
Monday
real
Night
fines.
Raw. Monday Night Raw goes off without a hitch, and we move on to Wednesday. We have Dynamite. Dylan, standout thing for you. Hit me.
Oh, man. It's going to take a second here, but like I think, truthfully, the United Empire is about to be back, and we said it last week. I dropped my one per episode asking where Mark Davis was. I think Mark Davis is coming back soon because at the end of the 6-man, Ospreay and Fletcher stand up, and they're putting up the crowns, and on the video board we have the United Empire logo. And you can't have a 2-man empire.
No.
So I got a real feeling Dunkzilla's coming back soon. And if I'm fantasy booking here, which, you know what, I will, get Jeff Cobb back over here.
Yeah.
Give me those 4 and just let them run.
I mean,
It's been a while since a babyface faction has run stuff in AEW. It's usually the heels. Give me like babyface, Ospreay, Aussie Open, and Jeff Cobb just raining down fire on the Elite. Come on.
I wouldn't even be upset with like TJP or Francisco or Hanare, like any guy from New Japan, especially with Wrestle Dream coming up.
Yeah, Wrestle Dream coming up, I think, is a perfect time to bring Aussie Open fully back. I mean, come on. The amount of dream matches you could have with Aussie Open versus anybody in New Japan right now. Absolutely. Or CMLL. Come on.
Absolutely. Well, a few standout things for myself. We have what will be, I believe, at Grand Slam. It could either be at Grand Slam or 2 weeks from now, a Dynamite 5-year anniversary. We have Mariah May versus Sakazaki, which I haven't quite figured out that gimmick.
So it's 100% just as Joshi gets. And
absolutely.
Like, I forgot. So it's been so long since I've seen Yuka. I forgot that she just sounds like Minnie Mouse when she came in and got on the mic. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That Yuka sounds like a Disney character.
Yes.
But I like what she's doing because it's just straightforward, like if you take Stardom and just pile everything from Stardom into one person,
Yes.
it's what she's doing. It's like the crazy gear, the like just reckless abandon dives to the outside. Like she's really fun to watch.
And let's just have our women's champion Mariah May absolutely destroy everything that she once was.
And
So
then knee to face, Storm
yeah,
Zero, and everybody goes
yes,
home mad.
yes. I mean, I don't know about mad.
I wasn't
Um,
mad.
But that match is getting set up for Grand Slam or Dynamite 5. I cannot remember which one. But we also had a small little promo package that Mina Shirakawa.
Shirakawa.
There you go. I had it right the first time. I just doubted myself.
Don't doubt
I
yourself.
saw a Z written on my paper and immediately tried to throw in a Z into it for some reason. But Mina's back, which I guess the hashtags came true.
We want Mina.
Um,
Give me face Mina versus heel Mariah in what will 1000% be a barn burner.
I mean, even the Tony Storm match was solid. Like Tony
Yeah.
versus Mina was solid. So give us two people that have the chemistry that May and Mina have.
You when you take tag teams that have worked together so much and you have those like one-on-ones where they like the team explodes or whatever,
Yeah.
a lot of times those matches are great because like you got to think they're training together. They're running spots
Right.
together. They're practicing moves on each other. So like you understand that person's tendencies almost as well as they do, and it just makes for matches that could just go off. So I'm really excited for that.
Absolutely. No, they I mean, just to think I mean, you said it best. So people that train together do, the most chemistry. These girls, I'm not quite sure about Stardom, but we have talked about New Japan multiple times in the past. Japanese shows, a company will run 3-4 shows a week in anywhere from a gym to an arena.
Yeah,
In a
kind of like
week.
the old territory days, man. You have the same card, but they'll run it 4 times because people want to see it, and they will come back again and again and again.
Right. And so we have that matchup between what used to be Mariah and Mina and now turned against it, and I am about it. But moving on from there, we're talking about setting up for Grand Slam and Dynamite 5. I know I've said those names dozens of times. Grand Slam is coming up this Wednesday. Confirmed the matches that we have is the Young Bucks versus Osprey and Fletcher. Shut up and take my money.
Chef's kiss. Tony's cooking.
We have Darby Allin versus John Moxley. Shut up and take my money.
War.
If he's medically cleared, Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. Shut up and take my money from 1990. Like, just like early 2000s money that actually is a dollar's now worth like 45 nowadays. Just shut up and take all my money. Do we have any? Those are the big three. I think we've had one more.
That's the big three that I'm remembering offhand. I'm sure there's more, but
Right. And I mean, Mariah Sakazaki might happen. Once again, we can't remember if that's happening on Grand Slam or if it's happening on Dynamite 5. But Dynamite 5, let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. We'll be getting Ospreay versus Ricochet like number 12.
I'm
But
trying
it's
to think back.
the first one that's happened in 10 years.
And it's the first one on American television.
Yes, correct.
And their matches had this amazing tendency to set the internet world, like the IWC, completely on fire. And you're going to have one half of the fan base that's going to say this is the greatest thing to happen to wrestling, and you're going to have the like, these two jackasses up here doing flippy doos. And I am probably going to have to mute Facebook for a week after this match, but I'm sure I'm going to love it. It's two
gonna
guys.
be fun.
It's two guys that also, since their last match, both guys have bulked up. They've started adding more striking to the arsenal.
They have.
This is
become
going to be a
way
totally
more,
different match.
For lack of a better term, professional.
Yes.
One has worked on TV very often, and another one has worked for a company for over 15 years. So,
So yeah, we're about to see potentially an entirely different match out of these two, but I think it'll still be awesome.
Correct. My hope is that we get a crisper Ricochet.
Yes.
The past couple of matches that he has had have not been bad by any means.
Not at all. But
But you had said off air that when you have people that are not willing to take your offense, because that is not the style that they want to put on TV, so they just kind of nix out half your arsenal. I can understand being on TV for 10 years and being told, hey, you can't do this, 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 and this, even though that's your mainstay kind of goal.
well, look at like when Ricochet was in NXT and he had those matches with Adam Cole, and everything was freaking crisp as iron sheets, dude. Just beautiful. The moonsault where Cole kicks him in the head and he finishes
Dude.
the flip, knocked out.
Yep.
I mean, stuff like that. You've got guys that are used to that style because him and Cole both came through like Ring of Honor and PWG and all that. And then in the modern era of Ricochet, he's in there with kind of the big guys being the like small guy that tries to be giant killer. So they've got him facing like Braun and Braun Breaker, and it's just not that those guys aren't good at what they're doing, but it's an entirely different style, and these guys didn't work those Reseda shows where everybody's flippy, everybody's quick, everybody's crisp. And so you spend a lot of time working a different style, and like anything else, like what you do the most is what you're going to get better at.
Yeah.
And if you don't do something as often, it's harder to get it back. So you're seeing Ricochet kind of like, I think he's trying to merge those two styles back together. And I think it'll happen. I mean, the dude's unreal talented.
Absolutely. No, and I think this match in 2 weeks is going to be a telltale sign of what is to come for Ricochet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. But we have one or two other matches from Dynamite 5. I would have to look them up, but I know that is the big, huge one. Once again, I will say it one last time. We don't know if Sakazaki, Jesus Christ.
You got it.
I just can't read. That's what it is.
We both watch so much Japanese wrestling, and you still don't know how to. You know these people, and you just can't.
I know these
can't
people.
pronounce
What the
names.
problem is that I try to read it. That's the problem.
Yep.
I'm just my minor in dyslexia is starting to kick in.
Speaking of having a minor in something, someone with a major in dentistry is coming back for Dynamite 5.
Oh yes,
We're getting a little DMD back in Pittsburgh. Why would you not?
correct.
I love that we are teasing the return of somebody who just returned, because I think Tony Khan has got the Men in Black, forget Ray, and just like, look, what match against Mercedes?
Right.
Boom, she's coming back for the first time.
Yeah, she's back for the first time in a while. Oh, you mean it's only been 4 weeks? She's coming back for the first time in a while. Yay!
She's been gone for so long. Don't
Right.
worry about that other match. It didn't happen. We erased it
Correct.
off the DVDs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, any Mercedes fans.
Hey, man. The one that I used to be forgives you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. But yeah, Dynamite was good. It was
yeah.
a good show.
It was fun.
The main event was fun. Like you said, United Empire having the banner pop up, that's what popped me. So there's hope. There is hope.
Oh, man, I just need Dunkzilla back. I need a full-strength Aussie Open in the same tag division that the Outrunners exist in. Tony Khan, take my money.
It's not gonna happen. But talking about tag matches that we never thought would happen, let's move on to SmackDown.
Yes.
And we got the good old Roman and Cody versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa coming up at Bad Blood. We had somewhat of a, I thought at first, strange cinematic promo between the two of them. I did not catch all of it. But Cody and Roman are just standing in the Georgia Tech Stadium and cutting a promo back and forth. It was good.
I don't hate it. I like the way that they did that kind of cinematic style because let's call it what it is. I love wrestling fans. I love hot crowds. But I think we've had enough crowds in the last couple of years completely hijack segments with chants. I'm looking at you, any crowd for a WWE pay-per-view outside of the States. Cody, Cody Rhodes, Cody, Cody Rhodes, all night. You have a segment, you need to get this storyline across. Do something like that. Cinematic promo in the back, something. So you take these two stars, let them get their point across. And they're going to get back out in front of the crowd and they'll get their pop and they can all do their chants and have fun. But when we're trying to tell a story, sometimes just
Absolutely.
take a second. Let it breathe.
Absolutely. And they do the whole storyline of I need to know that you have my back. Roman kind of does the whole you have nothing to lose in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the words, they took Jimmy from me. They took my wise man from me.
Yes.
They took my bloodline. Like just I don't know if that's if he actually used that line, but he was playing off the thing of they even tried to take my title. And they even took his beads. I don't know the exact terminology for his beads, but he even commented, he said the exact terminology. He took my something that is the beads that he wears as tribal chief.
I love that we're actually seeing Roman show emotion because I think for so long he's just been the cold, calculated, like unfeeling, and it's like you realize now, like, yeah, he is affected by this. Like mentally he's affected by this, emotionally he's affected by this, and he hates what they've done so much he's teaming up with the guy that helped take it all away. I mean, dude, that's storytelling.
Absolutely.
I never thought Roman and Cody tag teaming together would have me this hyped and invested, and here we are.
And here we are. Yes, and I mean, they even do the card of, and I want to say, because once again, I only saw bits and pieces, and that, if I ever say I saw bits and pieces, that just means I saw clips online, folks. There was another clip of Cody going off on Roman and being like, you were stepping into my hometown. He goes, down the road is an arena that my dad would wrestle in all the time. Down the road is the corner store that I would shop at. Down here is this place. And he goes, even right where you're standing, sure, you played football at Georgia Tech, but you never called this place home. You went right back down to Florida as soon as you were done here. He goes, this is my home. And then if I had to fantasy book based off of the clips that I say, that's when Roman turns around and goes, but you don't understand. You have nothing to lose. Once again, I'll eventually watch the full clip because I need to get hyped for this match. But my script writing self in my brain says that. And no, wrestling is not scripted. But anyway, it's going to be a fun match. Fatu is going to tear people apart. Solo is going to look like the coward heel. And we've got two baby faces that are going to blow the roof off the place.
Yeah, the pop for this match stands to be ridiculous.
And there's nothing on the line. Like, that's, honestly, it's just a match that's happening.
There's no titles on the line. There's no title opportunities on the line that we know of. This is just a storyline match.
There's no Roman taking back the bloodline or the title of Tribal Chief. Like, it is just a match that, because Cody and Roman have gotten sick of fighting Fatu and Solo and Tonga and Loa, that they're just going, screw it, we're fighting together. Like, what? Okay. Like, that's why part of me wonders if they will put stakes on it this Friday. They don't need to.
I don't think they need to, but it is totally possible that they do.
Yeah. But I'm working on my segue. So talking about stakes, we had a good old tag match on Friday Night SmackDown between Bayley and Naomi and Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. At the very last minute, Nick Aldis announces that it is going to be a tornado tag match. And whoever pins the opposite team gets a shot at Nia's title, which I believe the stipulation was if Bayley and Naomi win, then they get a shot at Nia's title. If Tiffany and Nia win, then Bayley and Naomi cannot come to SmackDown anymore. Would we like to see Bayley on Raw? Not yet. Give me Bayla versus Rhea, but wait until the whole Rio Live thing's done.
Yeah. Don't hotshot it. Let it breathe.
Now, I will say, as soon as I saw the promo of Nick Aldis say, it's going to be a tornado tag, so whoever pins Nia gets to challenge for the title, I immediately knew that there was going to be a double pinfall. As soon as he made the announcement, I was like, well, for smart marks like myself, you just ruined the finish. Thanks, Nick.
Don't you love those when they give you a stip and you're like, great, now I know how that one's ending. Thanks.
Right. I am not entirely sure how it finished. I believe Bayley took a senton from Nia, and maybe Naomi gave her a rear view and like rolled her up with the rear view. But since Bayley was on the ground right there, she hooks her for a crucifix and rolls her. So Bayley has a crucifix and Naomi has Nia in some kind of pin. What I don't understand about the story, and maybe you can talk about it. You're not a referee, but maybe you can discuss a little bit more on it. If the stipulation was that one person has to pin Nia in order to challenge for the title, why is a referee counting a pinfall for the both of them?
See, this is one of those things that I feel like we need our special referee correspondent George Strong to like come in and help us out.
Shoes!
We need shoes involved. But I mean, to me, it's that weird situation of like if I'm the ref, like you're calling this thing 100% legitimate, and a pin is happening.
Right.
And so you can't just be like, well, no, I'm not calling the pin because you both have a stake to it, because the pin has happened, and you have to call the pin.
Right.
And I guess I could see that being one of those where, like, in the moment, you're like, you'll go ahead and count the pin, and we will figure it out on the back end of this, versus if I don't count it, I haven't done my job.
Right.
The same way as, like, if you're a football ref and you see, I know this is pass interference. I think it might be the wide receiver pushing off. It might be the defensive back holding. You throw the flag, and then you go stand with the other officials and go like, all right, what do we think happened here? Take your second, regroup. If we're looking at this just purely from a ref standpoint. But from the standpoint of a fan, it doesn't make any freaking sense to me at all.
It really doesn't, because what made it bad was it almost, so in my head watching, and once again, I'm smartened up just a little bit in the business. So, but watching it, it almost made it look like the ref didn't know the rules of the match.
Which is possible.
Because she grabs both of Naomi and Bayley's hands, and they both pull away and go, I pinned, right? Like, now they're arguing with the ref because they don't know who pinned who.
Well, and then if you think about it from just, we've both been in the backs, for wrestling shows before. Everything's kind of chaotic, man. You're running around, stipulations change, matches change, people get injured, people, stuff changes. I mean,
some people can't get to the show.
Yes, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this could totally be a situation of, like, this referee does not hear that, like, hey, we're changing this to, like, or hey, we're changing the tornado tag, and they don't hear the part about one of these two has to pin, so the ref calls it straight as a shoot, and then raises both hands, and they pull away. It's like, oh no, did I screw up? Like,
right. Well, and
sometimes it happens.
I will say, it's WWE. I believe her name is Jessica, is the ref.
Yep, Ref Jess.
Phenomenal referee. She knew exactly what she was doing. All of it was planned to a T. I mean, no, it wasn't. Wrestling's not scripted.
Wrestling is real. People are fake.
Keep the kayfabe.
Damn
but
it,
yeah,
kid.
that's no, it was a good match, but announced by Nick Aldis, we have Bayley versus Naomi next week to find out who's going to challenge Nia for her women's title. I believe at Bad Blood?
Or on the SmackDown before, because we don't defend titles on pay-per-view anymore.
I'm just trying to think about what's on Bad Blood at this point. Like, we're not having a WWE Championship match because WWE Champion is currently in a tag match. We're getting possibly Uso Braun. We're getting Gunther Sammy.
That's a
You know that
championship
one?
match.
Um,
And then we're getting Punk McIntyre in the cell. That's not a championship
Right.
match, but that is a absolute blood feud, so that tracks.
Shut up and take my money, Hunter.
Yes.
But yeah, but Bailey versus Naomi. I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm still going to ask you: who do you want to take it? Who do you want to challenge Nia?
I mean, we're gonna go ahead and just gloss over the fact that my dog is named Bailey. We're saying Bailey, and I think I would kind of love to see a situation where like Bailey has weakened Nia, but like Nia still it looks like she's about to win, and then all of a sudden we get a cash in. You want to talk about just a pop? If there's a time to turn Tiffy face, I feel like we're in the middle of it right now. Like it's hot, do it. But you know, I'd love to see Bailey get another crack at the title. Obviously, just give me any Bailey, championship opportunity, major storyline. I've loved her since she was a hugger in NXT. Like, give me more.
Well, Dylan, I'm going to be a little more obscure, so I'm just going to say it. Put it on the board! I think it's going to end in shenanigans, and we're going to get a triple threat match at Blood Blood.
Ooh.
And not only that, but we'll turn it into a fatal four-way with a cash-in.
You know what? Take my money.
Thanks,
it.
Hunter. Hey, thanks, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Trips is cooking. I can see it happen.
But yeah, fatal four ways. I think it'll be a good one. It leaves all four women looking strong up until that point. It leaves Naomi coming into the picture. I don't see Naomi winning it. Let's be real. The only three people that walk away from that match as potential champions is Bailey, Nia, and Tiffy. Like,
I mean, yeah, Naomi's great. She just hasn't been built up the same way that like the story has been built around these three women. And I'm glad that we brought Naomi in to balance the odds, and like her and Bailey have a chemistry. It works, but
yeah, I mean,
it would be the option that makes the least sense.
She got the big pop at the Royal Rumble coming back from TNA. But I don't think no, we have seen her since. She was teaming with Bianca and Jade. But just hasn't done a whole lot since then. So like you said, just hasn't been built to where Bailey, Nia, and Tiffy are right now.
And
like, you got to think
they
any
totally
major
could.
moment.
Like,
Absolutely.
They
I'm not
totally
saying she can't.
because she has done it before and could easily do it again. But right now, the story being told, I just don't see it.
I mean, still, I still think about the pop that Tiffy got when she entered the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Like,
The people
Australia
want
blew
to
up.
cheer for Tiffany Stratton.
Right.
Have Nia be about to win on some complete heel shenanigans, and then she gets cracked over the head with that briefcase. Cash in 1, 2, 3, and then you got a built-in feud because they are two people that they've traveled up and down the roads together. You could tell that's going to be a great feud when it inevitably happens, because a lot of times in wrestling, good friends make even better enemies.
Yep. Hey, Dale. Hey, buddy. But yeah, Fatal 4-Way. Let's go ahead and move on to Friday. Flippy dippy Fatal 4-Way, because Rampage wouldn't be Rampage without it. All I had to say is keep pushing Nick Wayne.
We need more Nick Wayne. And if we get more Nick Wayne, we get more of Nick Wayne's hot mom.
You heard it here first, folks. That's pretty much all we got for Rampage. It wasn't much. And then Saturday Night Collision, there was a heck of a Ring of Honor tag match. I'm guessing it was a bunkhouse brawl. We never really confirmed.
It was a bunkhouse brawl. And it was Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes versus The Kingdom. And 3 out of the 4 were as bloody as I've seen people on AEW television.
Yeah.
And the 4th was Sammy.
Yeah. Which is surprising.
As crazy as he is and all the wild ass bumps he took in that match, I mean, like coming off the ladder through tables to the outside. Sammy is looking a lot cleaner since he came back. Like, he's a guy I've always had my kind of issues with, like being semi reckless. And I mean, he's had a few moments in matches where like if you're doing something and you're endangering yourself or the people you're in there with, it's not worth the crowd reaction if you potentially like end somebody's career.
Right.
But it looks like he's cleaning up a lot from what I saw in that match. I was really impressed.
And then we had the finish.
Good God, the finish.
With Dustin hitting
the barbed wire wrap Shattered Dreams to set it up.
and yes, I'm forgetting what is it? No, it's not Shattered Dream Productions. That's just his Gold Dust thing. I'm trying to think of what his little like brainbuster, like spinning brainbuster is called. I cannot remember. To
I
save my
forget
life.
what he calls the spinning brainbuster, but he wraps his boot in barbed wire, hits the Shattered Dreams in the corner, picks up,
pulls him up, hits the little spinning brainbuster, and then the camera pans up to the top of the ladder, and we have what might be the nastiest crouton that has ever been hit. Sammy Guevara jumps off a ladder and hits a crouton in true Jeff Hardy fashion. Thank you, Matt Hardy, for giving the world the name crouton. It's not a swanton. It's a crouton.
He landed on. I think it was Bennett.
I think it was Taven.
It was Taven. It was Taven. He landed on Taven as hard as I've ever seen someone land on somebody. And I was just like, well, you know what? If he knocked Jeff clean out, go ahead and steal his move, you know?
Right.
Why not?
I mean, it's like Cody Rhodes, man. Like, oh, I faced you a couple times. I can steal your moves.
Yeah.
Like Lethal Injection. Cody has that now. That's his. He's faced Jay Lethal enough times. But the big thing coming out of Collision, Nigel McGuinness's promo, and I'll let you take this away because I know you paid attention to it. You are a massive Nigel fan. Let's keep pushing Grand Slam. That's happening next week.
So I don't know if I said this on the pod or not, but we're going to go ahead and point back to this imaginary board behind me. Put this on the board. This promo cemented it for me. They're saying if Bryan Danielson is cleared to compete a lot. I think Nigel comes out, cuts another promo like he did at Collision. And just when you think it's absolutely not going to happen, those synthesizers are going to hit, and these two are going to beat the bejesus out of each other. But Nigel comes out on Collision, and he's wearing a shirt that says Bryan fears Nigel, #American coward. And he proceeds to go on a tear about how Bryan Danielson is scared to face him, and that's why he has not come back from something he should have been back from. He's talking about how he's weak, he's pathetic, he's a coward. Tony Schiavone comes out and says, Nigel, I've sat alongside you since you've come back, and I've listened to you say a lot of things about Bryan Danielson, but I have called wrestling in 5 different decades, and Bryan Danielson is hands down the best wrestler I have seen in my time in this business, and he will show up at Grand Slam, and he will kick your ass. And my arm hairs are standing up because I'm like, this is.
It's not even Bryan giving the promo. It's Schiavone.
Not. And I think I think it's what they're doing is brilliant, saving the because Nigel's going to come out. He's going to come out to that sweet, sweet Oasis song that we can't say on television.
Yes.
Which I'm sure those rights have skyrocketed since Oasis is reunited.
Absolutely.
So good job on that one, Nigel. But I think they're going to really drag this one out to the last possible second. And when Final Countdown hits, Arthur Ashe is going to shake. Because if he came out on Collision last night and said, I'm going to be there, you would have popped that building. But think about the pop when he finally does come back.
Absolutely.
First time since Moxley tried to hitman to him and put the bag over the head.
Good pull. Yes.
As the VHS filter kicks on.
Right.
I mean, just think of the crowd reaction when Final Countdown hits and Arthur Ashe just moves like a wave. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big match. And I hope they don't mess it up.
they've got years and years of build to this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Tony Khan is making this happen. When he says he books wrestling for the sickos, he is literally booking it for people like me who just like, why wouldn't Danielson and Nigel have some sort of beef still? Because they had that hell of a run in Ring of Honor, and they never got to quite put the exclamation point on that feud. And then Nigel comes back, and that was my first thought was, oh my God, he's back. Oh my God, he's going to face Danielson. It just boom, boom.
Yep. Indeed. It's, dude, we say it every week. Crazy time to be in wrestling, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
But
never say never.
Never say never. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. Injuries aren't real. They're always a work. They're always fake. But Dylan, that's the week.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a takeaway, just one.
So I think we've been having a little bit of fun. I'm gonna bring this to like I guess a little bit of a more serious click for this, but I think my takeaway this week is, man, this wrestling thing is inherently like, yeah, it's a little silly. It's a little bit. Yes, we know that everything is not. It's not UFC. We get it. But in times where like you're going through it, people go through rough weeks in this world. I'm in the middle of one right now. Professional wrestling can give you that place to just kind of get away from it all, and it's given me an escape. I can tell you, in an incredibly tough time, like I got to sit here and talk about this thing that I love, and I think it's amazing that we have this. Like I think it is awesome that we have this world and we have people that are so passionate about this thing.
Yeah.
And so when you find yourself yelling on Twitter about, well, they're not filling the arenas and this and that, like, dude, shut up. We are all here having fun. We have this amazing thing, and it's only getting better. Don't be a dick about it. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, no, I say the same. You know, wrestling is a crazy time. We say it every week. Support the indies. Look up local indies around you, because I'm sure one of them has a way of getting footage to you, even though it's not right next door to you. I mean, we plug 225 Unleashed all the time. That's a Louisiana wrestling company that literally 2 years ago had no fan base. And by no fan base, I mean respectfully no online fan base before anybody in that company comes at me.
No, it had loyal, devoted people in the buildings, but like it didn't have an online footprint like it does now. I mean, I was looking at one of the videos last night, and there's a comment that says like, "Hey, first time watching from California, like you guys have made a fan," and I think that's amazing. Somebody in another state, another country, another whatever is watching our promotion here.
Right.
It's an awesome time to be a fan.
Can't do anything about it, and the fact is, we are here. You know, like we ain't going anywhere.
Every show I say it, this is the best show we've done yet, and it just keeps happening.
It just keeps getting bigger, man. But speaking of we are here, we're here. We are the Victory Road Wrestling Podcast. Dylan, where can they find you, my friend?
I am Dylan Gilbert on social medias, Dylan_Gilbert37 on Instagram, and then you can find me on Action Figure Weekly, and then just kind of doing some various guest spots. I just did one on a podcast called Wrestling Buddies. A good buddy of mine, Rob Buck. We had a good time. I think he called it A Few Rounds. It should be out here shortly. So yeah, man, I'm kind of making the rounds all over, and just talking wrestling into a microphone, man. I love it.
Absolutely. I am Alex Braddock, or the Alex Braddock on social medias. We are always having a fun time. Make sure, if you're on Spotify, hit the download button or the like button, whatever. YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hey, you good, bud?
Yeah, man. Look, I said I wasn't going to do this week, but let me get a little closer in here. I got a piece of business that I got to take care of. And it's some guys that I think I have to start off by saying it's guys that we both have a lot of love and respect for. But sometimes you got to be the spark to ignite the flame. How do you get that close to 100 episodes and leave us? How do you walk away on top? Last match standing. I'm calling you guys out. The new blood is on the block. The scene needs you. We need you back. And if this is what it takes to get you off the sidelines and back on the microphones, I'm ready to call you guys out because I can't watch you guys sit aside any longer. We need you back. I'm sorry. I'll let you finish.
And with that, I hope it's been a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, or good night. Whatever time of day you've been joining us, thanks for watching the Victory Roll Wrestling podcast.